So there are 5 skills that you can start building today that will make you future-proof for the rest of your life. I watched a demo last week that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. This demo was from Anthropic, and it was basically a person typing in one sentence into their new AI tool that stated, "I'm the general manager of Joe's Pizza. We're thinking about opening up a new location. Advise us where." From this single sentence, the machine read every single business file that the company had, researched expansion locations across the entire metro area, built a competitive analysis that included rent, demographics, growth ratings, and it generated a full financial projection with sensitivities in Excel. It also produced a polished PowerPoint with a timeline and recommendation. This one task would have taken a team at least a week. Now a machine can do it in just a few minutes. This example was for a very specific type of role, but just take what I explained and apply it to any single role that you can think of, maybe even the one that you're applying for or that you're in right now. This technology that's coming out, which we're calling artificial intelligence, is going to completely reshape the knowledge economy, which is the world that we've been operating under for the past 100 years. There's a lot of doom and gloom, and I think some of it's warranted, but if you adopt a system and learn how to operate in the new world, you'll be ahead of everybody. The thing to keep in mind is that this is the worst that the technology will ever be. So you might have used it in the past and dismissed it as not good, but just keep in mind the pace at which this is accelerating and what will this look like 1 year from now or 2 years from now, which is not a long time away. So here's why this matters to you. The work that AI demo did is the exact work that most entry-level white-collar jobs entail. This includes individual contributor type of work that ranges from coding, software engineering, research, analysis, PowerPoint creation, financial models. The tasks that junior hires spend their first few years grinding through has just become automated by these AI tools. So if you're currently in the job market, whether you're a student or a young professional, and you're just preparing by sharpening your resume and mass applying or doing things that your career services parents or older friends told you, I'll be the first to say that you're playing a losing game and the world that you're preparing for is disappearing right under your feet. The skills that got people hired for the last 30 years are not going to be the skills that will get you hired in 2026 and beyond. The game has completely changed, and in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 skills that actually matter today. These aren't going to be soft skills or buzzwords. They're the foundational building blocks for a completely new operating system for how careers work. The good news is that it doesn't require a perfect GPA, target school, or specific major, or any sort of prerequisite. But before I walk you through each one, you need to understand the shift that's making all of this true. If you don't see that, none of what I'm about to say will really land. And it goes way beyond AI. So for most of the last century, the world ran on knowledge. You went to school, you memorized information, you learned a specialized skill, and you traded that skill for a career. If you could do the thing, whether that's building a financial model, writing a memo, writing code, understand how supply chain works, you had some sort of value in the workplace. Well, that world is over. What we're living through right now is a shift from the knowledge economy to what I like to call the wisdom economy. A world where knowing how to do something is no longer the advantage because everyone has access to the same tools and the same information. What separates people now is knowing what's worth doing and why. So let me make this a little bit more concrete. Korn Ferry published a number recently that said 42% of recent college graduates are underemployed, working in jobs that don't require a college degree at all. The Burning Glass Institute tracked those graduates over time and found that 45% of them are still underemployed a decade later. So these aren't people who failed. Most of them did exactly what they've been told. Went to a good school, got good grades, and applied to almost everything. But what they were doing was playing by the rules of the old world and preparing for something that doesn't exist anymore. And so the worst thing that could happen to you is that you pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for a college degree and then work at McDonald's or a job that you could have gotten out of high school. The next wave of 6-figure jobs and things that are seen as high status are going to require a different approach on how to break into them and then how to thrive. So what actually works today? It starts with something most people are afraid to do. And it's the reason some people create opportunities out of thin air while others keep sending applications into the void. The first skill is agency. And by agency, I mean the willingness to move without being told to. Most students are waiting for a job posting, waiting for a recruiting season, waiting for someone to tell them what to do next. And I get it. School and your entire life trained you for this. You were given assignments, deadlines, syllabi. Your parents told you what to eat, who you could be friends with, and the list goes on and on. Someone always told you what was next and what you have to do. But the real world doesn't work like that. And the people who are getting hired in 2026, especially into the roles that never get posted, are the ones who create their own access. So here's what agency looks like in practice. 80% of jobs are never posted. They're filled through relationships, referrals, and internal moves. Which means if all you're doing is applying through portals, you're fighting over the 20% of the market against everyone else doing the exact same thing. I have an entire video over this if you want to learn more about the hidden job market. The person with agency, on the other hand, doesn't wait for the posting. They identify companies that they care about, they reach out to people who work there, and they start conversations before a role even exists. When the role opens up, their name is already in the room. This isn't really networking, it's not smoozing, it's just being the person who showed up and did the work before anyone asked. I covered the exact system for how to do this, from the cold emails to the target lists, the full playbook in a previous video. I'll link it in the description. But the skill under the tactic is agency, the willingness to move first. And here's the part that makes agency 10 times more powerful, especially than it was just 2 years ago. So the second skill is being AI native. This is not learning to code. It's not taking an AI course. I mean, thinking with AI as your default state. Using it the way that you use Google, instinctively, daily for everything. You have to become AI native and train your brain to think in terms of using the AI tools rather than letting them use you. Last week, I used AI to research 15 companies, draft personalized cold emails for each one, and build a competitive analysis in just 2 hours. That would have taken me a full week 3 years ago. And I want to be clear on what I just said. I didn't let AI do the tasks for me. I directed the AI to do the tasks. You have to become a manager of the AI rather than letting it manage you. So if you're job searching right now without AI, you're bringing a knife to a gunfight. Someone competing for the same role is using AI to prep for a coffee chat, to build projects overnight, and to find email addresses and personalized outreach at scale. They're able to do in 1 hour what used to take them 10 hours. And so the gap isn't between people who use AI and people who don't use AI. It's between people who direct AI with intention and people AI replaces. There's a huge difference between asking ChatGPT to write me a cover letter or using AI to research a company's recent product launches, identify a strategic gap, draft analysis of that gap, and send it to someone at the company with a note that says, I've been thinking about this and I'd love your perspective. The first person is using AI as a crutch, and the second person is using AI as leverage. The second person is the person who's going to get the callback, the promotions, and the statusful jobs. And so this is one of the few advantages young people have right now. Senior professionals are too busy with family and more responsibilities to go deep on these tools, but you're not. You have to use that to your advantage. Agency and AI will make you fast and dangerous, and are the 2 skills that you really need to develop today. But fast and dangerous, pointed in the wrong direction, is just a very expensive failure. The next 2 skills are what keep you from becoming the most productive person working on the wrong things. The worst thing you can do is spend hours on something that isn't really benefiting you or getting you closer to your end goal. You don't want to waste your time because time is the most valuable resource. So here's a question that rules a lot of people. What do you want to do after graduation? If your stomach just dropped, that's the problem we're going to solve. Most students don't have an answer to this, and because they don't have an answer, they do what feels safe. They apply to everything from consulting, tech, banking, startups, anything that's open, and take a very spray and pray approach. But here's the thing that you have to keep in mind. AI can execute anything. And so if you're a coder, you can learn marketing. If you're a marketing person, you can learn coding. If you're in finance, you can learn something else. And so it can build any model, draft any memo, research anything that you've been thinking about, now actually go and code production level websites and apps. But what AI cannot do is tell you what's worth executing. That requires something that no machine has, and it's conviction about what matters to you. The person with clarity doesn't need to have the perfect answer. They just need to have a hypothesis, which gives them a place to start. So I've gone over this many times previously. You need to come up with a sentence that points you in the right direction. It can be, I think I want to work in climate tech, doing strategy at a company that's actually building something physical. Something like this is not certainty, but it provides you a direction to channel your agency and your AI native skills. And without this clarity, every conversation you have is very generic. Every email you send is very vague, and every application is just one in another thousand. But when you have clarity, everything has a through line, and people can start to feel the intentionality, and that intentionality is magnetic. And this clarity can be applied to any field and role. It can be as simple as, I think I want to work at a big tech company like Amazon on their cloud services infrastructure team. You can apply this to whatever situation that you're in currently. And so here's an exercise for you to start right now. Write down 3 things. What are you genuinely interested in? What do you actually read about, or what catches your attention when you come across either a news article or a TV show or a TikTok or whatever? What comes naturally to you that's hard for other people? And what unique combination of experiences do you have that nobody else does? And you might be saying, I'm too young to have any unique experiences. I don't have anything done. I haven't done anything. But I promise you, everyone has something that they can draw on to come up with their initial statement. And so the intersection of these things will become your eventual hypothesis. Write it down, 1 sentence, test it, talk to people, and let it evolve. Your first hypothesis or statement will probably be wrong, and that's fine. But a wrong hypothesis you're testing is infinitely better than no hypothesis at all. Because now at least you're moving with direction. So now clarity tells you where to point. The 4th skill will tell you what to trust when you get there. And this is developing your critical thinking, judgment, taste, whatever you want to call it. It's really about knowing what matters and the why behind it. This is the one skill that will really separate the person using AI from the person who is being replaced by AI. And here's the one distinction. AI can generate 10 strategies in 30 seconds. The skill that matters is really knowing which one is actually good. AI can produce a financial model in minutes. The skill that matters is knowing whether the model is answering the right question. So yes, the AI can produce answers, code, models, everything that you might need to do in seconds, but the important part is recognizing whether what you're producing is good or bad and actually moves the needle forward. For this, you need to develop a human skill set to be able to judge if what you're using the AI for is valuable or just a bunch of slop. So building the actual thing, whether it's code, financial models, PowerPoints, whatever it is becoming automated, no doubt. And it's not what's going to get you hired anymore. What's going to get you hired is the wisdom behind it, knowing if what the AI made is right, valuable, and in the right direction. So let me make this a little bit more real. If someone asks you to analyze a company's growth strategy and you come back with, here's the model, you become replaceable. Any intern with ChatGPT can do that now. But if you come back with, here's the model, I think the real question is X because of Y, and here's what I'd actually recommend, this is judgment, this is taste, and this is no thing that a machine can replicate. And you can apply this to any field. If you're a software engineer, Claude Code, Codex, and other tools can go ahead and make and actually do a lot of the coding that you used to do by hand. But what separates you is how efficient it is. It's the architecture, right? The more higher level back end things that you have to refine your judgment to be able to have a good understanding of. So now you know where to point and how to filter. Here comes the uncomfortable truth. Out of everybody watching this video, maybe one person will actually go and do anything. I'm giving away all the secrets, and I'm okay giving away the secrets because no one will actually go and do the work. And so the most important skill out of all of the ones that I talked about is actually executing and creating proof. Because you can say that you watched a lot of videos, you understand how to do the thing, but it's really hard to actually go and execute. A project or a proof of work or a portfolio shows that you can execute and that you actually did something. So which one do you think will get the interview? Someone who just sends a resume or someone who sends a project? And so execution is the simplest skill on the list, but it's the one that most people never develop because it's really uncomfortable and it means putting something out there that's not perfect. It means sending the email before you feel ready, and it means building something that might not be good enough, but just sharing it anyways. The world is full of people who know exactly what to do. They've read the books, they've watched the videos, they have all the frameworks, but they're all still in the same spot because they never actually did the thing. They don't actually take action. And so here's what execution looks like. Pick a company on your target list, spend a week building a project that demonstrates how you think about their space. And if you're interested in finance, write an investment memo. If it's marketing, do a campaign teardown. If it's strategy, build a competitive analysis. If you're in engineering, prototype a feature, discover a vulnerability, or something that showcases that you can actually do the job. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to exist. A messy first draft you can show someone is infinitely more valuable than a perfect project that lives in your head. And then you actually have to send it to people. To someone, not as an application, but as a conversation starter to build a relationship. And the thing that makes all of this work is the compounding factor. Once you start executing, you get feedback, you incorporate it into your work, and you execute again. Each cycle gets sharper, the project gets better, your thinking gets a little bit more clear, your conversations get more informed, and the people you've been talking to start seeing you as someone who doesn't just talk, but someone who builds. This reputation will get you hired and will take you much farther than a GPA, some credentials, or anything else. So these are the 5 key skills that will make you 100% future-proof going forward. But if you just treat them like a checklist, you'll miss the most important part, and that's how they compound. So let me show you what happens when they all work together. These 5 skills aren't a list that you just check off. It's a living, breathing flywheel where each one powers the next. Agency will get you moving. It'll get you to start reaching out, to having conversations, and to creating access when none really existed. AI native will make you fast. The outreach that would have taken a week might take an afternoon. The research that would have taken you days might only take a few hours. And you're able to operate at a speed that wasn't possible just 2 years ago. Then the next thing that we talked about is clarity. Without this, nothing else matters. It keeps you pointed, gives you a direction, and you stop spraying and praying. You now have a thesis, and every conversation and every project just reinforces it. Critical thinking makes sure the direction is right. You don't want to just be busy for the sake of being busy. You're building judgment about what actually matters in the space that you care about. And then finally, execution turns all of this into proof. You're not talking about what you could do or what you're going to do. You're showing that you've already done the thing. And this cycle keeps repeating. The conversations from your initial outreach will sharpen your clarity. The projects you build will develop your judgment, and the feedback that you receive will improve your execution. Each cycle, you start to get known more, develop capabilities, and become more valuable. And so what I want you to understand is that this big shift from the knowledge to wisdom economy is not a threat, it's just a reset. For the first time, the playing field is actually level. You don't need the right school anymore. You don't need the right connections. You don't even need a 4.0. You just need agency, AI fluency, clarity, judgment, and the willingness to execute. These are all buildable skill sets. You can start today with $0. All you need is a couple hours a day. The people who will define the next decade and excel in their careers are not the ones with the best credentials. They're the ones who are actually updating their operating system first. I go deeper into each of these skills in my weekly newsletter, where I have cold email templates, project frameworks, AI workflows, and the actual playbooks. The link's in the description. Feel free to check them out. And so here's my one question from you. Out of these 5 skills, which one are you the strongest at right now? And which one do you really need to build? Drop it in the comments. I want to know where you're starting out from. I'll see you in the next video.